figured that we were going to be ticketed for speeding. I kind of assumed that they would escort us to the hospital, that they would take care of it there.
Charlie Rolko admits he was driving about 10 miles over the 25-mile-per-hour posted speed limit when he was pulled over by the Ohio State Highway Patrol September 2nd in Lorain, when he was on his way to the ER with his 7-year-old child. Rolko says his son fell while playing and needed stitches. He put his 4 children in the SUV and headed to the hospital. This dash camera video from the State Patrol shows the stop. Rolko says he asked the trooper to let him go to the hospital and give him the ticket there.
And they said, if it's life-threatening, we can call an ambulance. I said, we really prefer not to do that. We really don't have the money for that. That's why we're choosing to drive him.
Rolko was issued a warning for speed and not having 2 of his children in booster seats, but was given a ticket for not having his seatbelt on.
I guess that when I got in, instead of clicking it over, I went like this and I just threw it on and I clicked it, so it was about rather than being over the top of the shoulder right here where it would normally sit.
After getting the ticket, the father did take his son here to the hospital to get stitches. He is expected to be okay. Rolko says his main complaint wasn't the ticket, but the way it was handled.
I'm a little disappointed in the lack of empathy that the State Highway Patrol shows, or that just maybe the police force show in general these days for citizens when something's going wrong in their life. I feel like it is almost, they feel that it's more important to write a citation for something nowadays than to necessarily do the right thing, and that's my biggest issue with what happened.
Watch, instead of helping him, cop tickets dad for rushing bleeding 7-year-old to the hospital. Instead of using discretion and being a hero by escorting a bleeding boy to the hospital, an Ohio cop chose to issue a citation to his father. By Matt Agarist, September 13, 2017. Lorain OH police discretion, according to the law dictionary, is defined as the decision-making power afforded to police officers that allows them to decide if they want to pursue police procedure or simply let someone off with a warning. The Free Thought Project has reported on multiple incidents in which cops have used their discretion to effect positive change or help those in need. However, the incident described below is, unfortunately, not one of those stories. Charlie Rolko, a father of 4, was rushing his 7-year-old son to the hospital earlier this month after he'd fallen and received a deep gash that was bleeding heavily. Naturally, Rolko, who had his 3 other kids in the SUV with him, was driving a little fast as it was an emergency. My son fell and had a deep cut. He was in pain and was bleeding, so my main concern was to get him to the hospital, Rolko told Fox 8. However, his haste would be in vain after an Ohio State Patrol officer targeted him for revenue collection. Rolko admits that he was driving 10 miles over the posted 25 miles per hour speed limit, hardly serious criminal behavior. When the trooper walked up to his window, the dashcam footage shows Rolko asked her to let him go. To show what a stand-up man Rolko is, he wasn't asking to be let off for the ticket. He simply asked the cop if she could write him the ticket after he got to the hospital to stop his son's pain and bleeding. Unfortunately, the trooper wanted nothing of this. Read more, cop fires on unarmed man and his 6-year-old daughter on their way to get asthma medicine. Instead of using her police officer's discretion and realizing that the right and heroic thing to do would have been to allow Rolko to go to the hospital or even escort him there, this trooper insisted on keeping the father and his bleeding child at the scene so she could issue him a ticket. She said if it was life-threatening, we can call an ambulance, but I told her he needed stitches and we didn't have the money for an ambulance, Rolko said. So she said we would need to stay and be processed at the scene. Advertisement. According to Fox 8, a spokesman for the Ohio State Patrol told them Rolko was given a warning for speeding, and for not having 2 of his children in booster seats. He was given a ticket for not wearing his seat belt. To be clear, his kids were buckled in, just not in the right booster seat for their age. Also, according to Rolko, he did have his seat belt on, it was just under his arm. I guess when I got in the car, I was in such a hurry I had the seat belt under my arm and not over my shoulder, Rolko said. I understand the tickets. I just wish they could have showed some empathy and followed us or escorted us to the hospital and issued the ticket there. Empathy, however, was not an option. This news story could have been so much different and filed in our archives under good cops had this trooper simply done the right thing using her discretion and escorted Rolko to the hospital. Read more, Louisiana cop arrested for impregnating 13-year-old girl. The trooper could have been hailed as a hero. Instead, however, now she's responsible for stoking more animosity toward police. Two quick examples that show the power of police discretion can be seen below as well. In 2014, dashcam video captured the disturbing last moments of a man's life as he's detained by a Chippewa Falls police officer on the way to the hospital. 29-year-old Kasey Cresson died after suffering a severe asthma attack when the vehicle that was rushing him to the hospital was pulled over by a Chippewa Falls police officer. After they were stopped, Cresson's girlfriend immediately starts to beg the officer to take him to the hospital. The officer instead calls for an ambulance. The couple was just 3 miles from the hospital when they were stopped. It took over 6 minutes for the ambulance to arrive. The time added to the stop by the officer was too much and Cresson died on the side of the road because the officer failed to use his discretion and escort them to the hospital. However, here's what happens when officers use their discretion: they're hailed as heroes, and rightfully so. Also, in 2014, Helen Skeeter Smith found out her son was gravely ill and in the hospital. The 87-year-old jumped into her car in southern Nevada and began her 350-mile, high-speed drive up I-15. Not long into her drive, she buzzed past a Utah trooper who immediately pulled her over. When Helen told the trooper what her situation was, she was then let on her way. However, that was only the beginning. Read more, local cops are listening to your cell phone, feds telling them to keep it hush-hush. When Helen went to leave, she accidentally put the car in reverse instead of drive, sending her car slamming into the state trooper's car behind her. That's when something completely out of the ordinary happened. Instead of being cited, or otherwise detained, Trooper Jeff Jones began what would be a chain reaction of heroism. He actually gave her a ride from Fillmore to Juab County. Once the pair made it to Juab, Smith was handed off to Trooper Chris Bishop, who drove her to Salt Lake County. There, she was given to Andrew Pollard in Draper, who drove Smith all the way to Ogden Regional Medical Center. I ended up taking 4 patrol cars, said Smith. 4 good-looking patrol boys brought me. Because multiple cops all chose to use their discretion and chose to help instead of extort, Smith finally made it to the hospital room to see her dying son.
Just went through the red light. 1024. Triple crossing. I had two people out of the vehicle screaming and yelling at me. Okay. Go sit in the car. All right. Do you have an inhaler? Hey, GMS out here. He's having an asthma attack.
He's going to die. This has happened before.
I can't breathe.
He can't breathe.
All right. Just relax, okay?
Where's
Just relax, right?
your
Sit down.
inhaler?
Just sit down, okay?
I told him to go today to the hospital.
Come here. Yeah. When was the last time you had a...
He's done it. He's been doing nebulizers all night. He's just in the car.
Okay. Just slow down, alright? Just slow down.
Settle down, Kasey. You gotta relax.
Just slow down, okay? What's your name, ma'am?
My name's Leo.
Why my butt?
Kasey, you gotta just settle down.
What's your first name, sir?
His name's Kasey. I'm gonna get clean.
Kasey what? Just slow down, okay, man? Slow down. Alright? EMS is on their way here, okay? Alright?
He's really sick.
Yeah, I see that, okay? Just relax, okay?
Where is it? Where did it go?
You had it.
I gave it to you. Here it is. He can't breathe. He's had asthma really bad as a kid, really bad.
Has he been drinking or anything?
No, you don't drink.
You can't do it.
He's going to die from this. Can we just bring him?
EMS is en route here, okay?
They're not going to be able to get here soon enough. Can we just go? I would have made it there. And I saw you, and I knew I was speeding, but I had to get him.
Alright.
Is this them?
No, it's officer.
Kasey, just relax. You can't. We need you. Me and Babe need
Tony,
you.
how far out is EMS? Have him step it up here, okay?
This isn't funny. You need to get somebody here. Take your inhaler, Kasey.
Alright. Just relax, okay?
Please get somebody here! Please!
You're not helping here, okay?
I need it.
Yeah, you're not helping here, okay? Just lay down, right?
Well,
just lay down.
Hey,
sit
sit
up.
Oh, you guys
Alright.
need to get somebody here.
You just gotta calm down, relax, okay? Try to take deep breaths if you can, alright? You're gonna be alright, okay? You're gonna be alright. You understand that? Kasey?
Help me.
We're helping you, okay? You just gotta stay here.
Pull my pants.
Just, alright?
Can I just help him? You guys are
You're not-
helping.
Let Leo hold me.
You don't understand.
Let Leo hold me. Get off of me. Yeah.
Come on.
Don't squeeze me.
Settle down, okay?
Go ahead.
Settle down. Settle down. Please. You're cold. Settle down. Settle down, please. Please. Relax.
Never take her.
Take your inhaler.
Don't. Yeah.
Come on, where are they?
They're on their way. If he conks out in the car on you, you guys know you can't do anything for him. Okay? So it's best he just stays here. EMS will be here. They have medications on board. They have oxygen. Okay?
Settle down.
Slow breaths, okay? Just concentrate on your breathing.
Yeah, you're doing good.
You're doing very well. Just concentrate on your breathing.
Yep, doing real good.
Breathe, Kasey. Breathe.
There you go. Nice
Hey.
shot. You got it.
All right. Alright, you're doing alright, okay. What kind of inhalers do you have?
Just a butyrol.
Butyrol?
He's been doing nebulizers at home. We have a nebulizer machine.
Okay. Good stalking.
Just
You're alright.
relax, Kasey.
Just try to focus on
They're
your
going to
breathing.
be here.
In and out, okay? They're on their way.
You're alright. Okay? Just try to focus on your breathing. Nice, easy breaths. Okay?
There you go. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to try and talk.
Yep.
Focus on your breathing.
Your EMS is right here. They're just a block away, okay?
Yep. That'll go good for you. Just want to put it over his shoulders a little bit. It is kind of short.
Okay, EMS is here, alright?
Here.
I'm going to pull in right here. We're going to get you on the bus right away. Alright? Really bad asthma attack. Yep. Alright, Kasey, we're going to get you inside, okay? You want to help us out here? There you go. Up. Come on, buddy. Get over there. He hasn't been drinking or anything. Grab his tie. Yep. Straight up this way. Yep.
Kasey, you okay?
Yeah, he's alright. Keep breathing, buddy, okay? You're alright. Keep breathing. He's alright. Alright. Here we go. Ready? I can get some of the up. Ready? Yes. There you go.
And you can follow him to the hospital.
Claire?
Where you guys stay?
Okay. Pretty sweet, Joe.
That is
He's
in the
not
back
breathing.
They're going to bring him to the closest one right now.
Yep. Meet. Go to St. Joe's. Go. Keep breathing, man. Shut that door. You want me to drive the rig?
Yeah, let's go.
Thank you. Have me drive the rig. Yep. There we go. Okay. Pretty sweet though.
I was headed to Salt Lake because I had a son that wasn't going to make it.
87-year-old Helen Skeeter Smith lives in southern Nevada.
They called me about Randy, and then
Helen, here with a friend, learned her son Randy in Utah was in the hospital critically ill. She got in the car, hit I-15, and started driving north, making it as far as central Utah, where she was pulled over by Trooper Jeff Jones.
But he was all nice. Oh yeah, he was doing his job.
Helen was given a warning for a traffic violation.
Here's why I buzzed past him.
But then, instead of pulling forward to leave, she put her car in reverse and struck the trooper's patrol car.
And I put a little dent in his car.
And he realized it was not safe for her to drive. So Trooper Jones had Helen's car towed, and he gave her a ride from Fillmore to Juab County, where he handed her off to Trooper Jared Jensen, who drove her to Utah County. who handed Helen off to Trooper Chris Bishop, who drove her to Salt Lake County, and to Trooper Andrew Pollard.
She was very excited to tell me about her dogs, her cats, her hometown.
And he took her all the way to Ogden Regional Medical Center.
I ended up taking 4 patrol cars. 4 good-looking patrol boys brought me.
When this happened, Helen likely never realized her crash would touch off a chain reaction of kindness.
To have them there waiting, to hold her hand as we walked into the hospital, it was very, very rewarding.
It may have been one of the best accidents.
I'm grateful.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I'd like to thank you for all your years of support through the years. As a result, this channel has grown and allowed me an equity partnership in carmarshal.com. Please take the time to check them out. They help you buy and sell your next car, even have a negotiating tool to save you from the hassle of haggling with multiple dealers. The link is in the description below. Please click and help support and give if you can too through PayPal or Patreon. Thanks again.